Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the final session of today's presentations. My name's Tim Hoff. I'm Senior Metals and Mining Analyst at Canaccord. Up next, we have 29Metals. We have Peter Albert, Managing Director and CEO. Peter is an experienced mining executive with more than 35 years in the mining industry, working across multiple commodities. His career spans Australia, Asia, Africa and Europe, including 25 years in CEO and executive roles for listed mining companies in Australia and Asia. Prior to his appointment at 29Metals, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Peter was CEO of EMR Capital's copper portfolio in preparation for 29Metals' initial public offering and ASX listing. Peter's early executive career includes roles as CEO of ASX-listed Highfields Resources Limited, Jinchuan International and G Resources Limited, and Executive General Manager Asia for ASX-listed Oxiana Limited.
Thanks, Tim. Too long an introduction there, and thank you to Diggers and Dealers for the opportunity to present again this year. The title of my presentation is 29Metals, Investing for the Future. Investing for our future, investing for the future of our shareholders, and investing for future generations as we produce the metals the world needs for decarbonisation. Draw your attention to the important information on this slide. Read at your leisure, of course. So, what do we have? We're 29Metals. We've got 3 assets: an exploration project in southern Chile, and 2 operating assets here in Australia. One in Queensland, the Capricorn Copper Mine, and the Golden Grove Mine here in WA. A tremendous endowment we have across our operating assets. 2.24 million tonnes of copper, almost 2.5 million tonnes of zinc, over 1 million ounces of gold, and then of course silver, lead, but also importantly cobalt, especially at our Capricorn Copper Mine. We are underground miners. We've got significant experience in sub-level open stoping, sub-level caving, and we mine at depth at both operations. So as we're in WA, let me lead off with talking about Golden Grove. WA, of course, probably one of the premier mining provinces in the world. Great infrastructure, tremendous capable mining human resources, notwithstanding some of the pressures we've all experienced here in recent times. And at Golden Grove itself, a metal endowment there of over 1 million tonnes of copper and almost 2.5 million tonnes of zinc, with development opportunities which I'll come to a little later in terms of new ore bodies that we're looking to bring into the profile in the near term and longer term future years. Golden Grove is probably one of the best volcanic hosted metal sulfide systems in the world, certainly in Australia. It's been going for 30 years. It will probably go for at least another 30 years. 30 years ago, when it started, Golden Grove had a mineral resource of 10 million tonnes. Since that time, Golden Grove has mined and milled 40 million tonnes. And today we have a resource of 60 million tonnes. So today you can say it has been and is and will be a 100 million tonne resource at Golden Grove. Incredible endowment we have there, an incredible future that we have there at Golden Grove. Golden Grove, of course, only an hour's flight out of Perth, sealed roads, grid power, short distance to the port of Geraldton, where we export our concentrates from. This slide, a little busy, but very, very important. It talks about our golden years, the golden years that we have ahead of us at Golden Grove. When the private equity group EMR acquired Golden Grove back in 2017, it had been a little unloved. There was only about 3 million tonnes of reserve, a mine life of 3 years. EMR committed considerable capital invested into resources and reserves and sustainable capital projects, and turned it around, and then we brought it in as 29Metals into the IPO of about 2 years ago. And at that time, we had a plus 10-year mine life as a result of the work that had been done, and we have continued to invest in the sustainability of that business, both in terms of exploration, reserve conversion, and notwithstanding that commitment, it recognised that post the IPO just over 2 years ago, like the rest of the country, but certainly here in WA, some significant challenges around COVID. We're all fed up of talking about COVID, but they had an impact on the business. COVID in terms of the labour resources, the skilled resources that are available, the supply pressures, and of course inflationary pressures. And some of those are still with us today, but we worked through that. We have, as you'll see in a moment, multiple flexibility at the operation. We had to use some of that up to ensure that we achieve the production that we had guided the market to in 2022, and successfully achieved that. And notwithstanding, we obviously used up some of that flexibility and depleted some of the resources at that time, but we continue to invest in our future, continue to invest with ventilation upgrades, cooling plant upgrades, paste plant facilitation, and also, most importantly, the development, underground development to our extremely rich ore body called Xantho Extended, and I'll come back to that in a moment. And so now we see ourselves, and we're continuing to make those investments. We continue to commit to what we believe are the golden years for Golden Grove coming ahead. And not only have we got the ore bodies that we're mining today, but I'll show you in the moment the potential for the future ore bodies that we're going to bring into the trajectory. So this is what I was referring to. So we have two mining fronts, if you like, at Golden Grove. We've got the Gossan Hill mine, and we've got the Scuddles mine. Importantly, it's an important point that I'll come back to in a moment as well, is when these systems, as we get underground, we start from surface, we get underground, we develop, we develop drill platforms when we get underground, and we extend the targets, we extend the ore bodies laterally and at depth. And this has been a geological experience that we have experienced over the last 30 plus years, and the geologists continue that interpretation. And what they see is the feeder zones coming through the system. So you're mining and developing and producing ore from one side of the feeder zone, and then you find a twin on the other side, and these dotted lines are those theoretical feeder zones. Now we are mining. This is the very rich ore body that I referred to just now, the Xantho Extended ore body. That's 9.9 resource, 9.9 million tons of ore at 7.9% zinc and 2% copper and a gram per ton gold. It's an extremely rich ore body. Oops, sorry about that, gone the wrong way. We're mining there and mining in a very innovative fashion, 45-metre stopes. We haven't done that before, and the plan is to extend or continue that and take Xantho Extended to about 1 million tonnes per annum over the next 2 or 3 years. So really excited there, and leading to my theory there, or the geologist's theory, we expect and we'll be looking for the twin on the other side of that feeder zone in the future. This is the other mining front, Scuddles. This is a Scuddles ore body which has been mined over a number of years, and now we have underneath Scuddles the Cervantes resource. That's in pre-feasibility study. We're continuing to drill. We've committed another 7 kilometres of drilling at Cervantes this year. When we produced our resource and reserve statement at the back end of 31st of December last year, we had a 5.2 million tonne resource at 4.9% zinc and a couple of percent copper. So again, we're continuing 7 kilometres of conversion drilling there this year. And that's one of the future ore bodies that I talk about in terms of the future at Golden Grove. Here's another part of the future, the Gossan Valley project. It's through feasibility study. We're putting together the documentation now to submit that for approval. What's really exciting about Gossan Valley is that it's very close to existing operations, about 7 kilometres away from existing operations. It's a shallow ore body, and referencing back to what I said just now, what we anticipate as we get into that ore body, establish drill platforms and continue to extend it. It's open at depth and open laterally, and we anticipate that could do exactly what Gossan Hill and Scuddles has done over the last 30 years. And again, it provides tremendous flexibility to the operation, bringing in a third mining front. So, golden years for Golden Grove, golden years to come, building the infrastructure, the commitment in terms of the sustainable projects that we've undertaken and continue to undertake, accessing the ore that I talked about, Xantho Extended, Cervantes and Gossan Valley, and continuing that exploration, looking for those twins, looking for the continued growth that we have been able to achieve over the last 30 years at Golden Grove, and anticipate we will continue to do that. So leading to Capricorn Copper, again, some great numbers from Capricorn. Capricorn is located in probably one of the best base metal districts, certainly in Australia, base metal and copper districts, plenty of operations, plenty of targets, and there'll be some of my peers who are presenting some of that work over these 3 days. We have a mine there. At the mine and around the mine, we've got 1,900 square kilometres of tenement that has not had the opportunity to be explored with modern exploration methodologies. And when you've put that in the context of what is in that Mount Isa inlier, what has been achieved there over 100 years, we've got a tremendous footprint there at Capricorn. Strategically well positioned, roads, rail, power, online power, and right next door to the Mount Isa smelter, so which is only 140 kilometres away from our front door. And at Capricorn, it's not dissimilar to Golden Grove, a 10-year mine life. Today we've got a plus 10-year mine life, and tremendous metal endowment, over 1 million tonnes of copper, lots of silver, and this is where we've got this the cobalt, one of the highest or the richest cobalt deposits or cobalt resources, I should say, in the Queensland, and we are looking at cobalt and how we can optimise the value in terms of extracting that cobalt. So there's plenty of work happening on that front. Now, those of you who are familiar with the Capricorn story will know that we had a freak weather event back in March, which flooded the operations. That set us back somewhat. But if you're following us, you will be as pleased as I am when you saw the announcement last week ahead of market expectations. We had committed to a phased restart with the first restart commencing in August. We released that announcement last week, 1st of August. We have 2 mining fronts at Capricorn. We've got what we call the Mammoth Greenstone mining front, and then we've got the Esperanza South, a sub-level cave. Mammoth Greenstone, we're mining there again now. We are milling and processing ore from Mammoth Greenstone, and that happened last week. Our next stage is to dewater Esperanza South. That freak weather event did put water into that sub-level cave, and now that we've recommenced operations there, we're looking to remove that water and get back into operations at Esperanza South, the sub-level cave, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. That target timeline that we're targeting is, we say, the middle of the first half of next year. I will talk shortly about the exploration upside and really some of the very exciting results we've had from both Esperanza South and the Mammoth ore body. And come to that in a moment. Cobalt, as I mentioned just now, really focused on how we can deliver additional value out of Capricorn as a result of the cobalt opportunity. What's not on here is something called copper string. If maybe some of you are familiar with a program called Copper String, it's just been taken over by the Queensland government, who are making a major commitment to green energy in the state, and this is the first big project. It's a transmission line coming across from the coast all the way into the mining areas in northwest Queensland, tapping into green power generation along the route, whether that's solar power or wind farms. So we're a signatory to that. We're looking forward to that coming online probably towards the end of this decade, we think, and hopefully maybe a bit sooner. And that, of course, potential to significantly have a reasonable impact on the cost basis, certainly the power cost basis. So I mentioned some of the exciting results we've got, and the future that Capricorn has, not dissimilar to Golden Grove. This is the sub-level cave, Esperanza South. We released some of these results a little earlier this year, but worth pointing out that this is drilling and results which are outside of the current resource envelope. These are not results in the guts of the ore body. These are outside of what our resource is. We've always said at Esperanza, as we get deeper, the ore body gets wider and the grades will get better. It's a sub-level cave. It's a very efficient mining operation, more tons per vertical meter. And here you can see some of the results that I referenced. 70 meters at almost 3% copper, 48 meters at 2.7, and 23 meters at 3% copper. You don't see results like that very often in this space. And then the other ore body that I talked about just now, the one that we've just started up, is called Mammoth and Greenstone. Mammoth is, we're mining in Mammoth today. This area, this darker area, is the area that we're mining at. This is the future mining areas. And historically, we have the geologists, I should say, have considered that Mammoth ore body is defined, the extent of it is defined by the portal fault, as described here, down there. We punched a couple of holes through probably late last year down here, and lo and behold, we're looking at a potential new ore body on the other side of the fault zone there. And again, these are 230 meters apart. We're so keen to get back in and put the drill rig to work down there. 35 meters at 1.7% copper, that upper one, but the lower one there, 38 meters at 4% copper. Again, just tremendous results. Potentially a new ore body on this side of the fault, and we'll certainly be working that in the very near future. So Capricorn Copper, as I said, you couldn't have a better address. Tremendous tenement opportunity, 1,900 square kilometres of tenement. Copper string on its way. The sooner the better as far as we're concerned. And of course the cobalt opportunity, and the team is focused on that, working with various specialist engineering groups and academic groups and test facilities to look at the best way that we can extract cobalt from what we have in terms of an existing mine, an existing process plant, and adding value, further value to Capricorn. So in closing, a quick recap. We've, besides the exploration target and play in southern Chile, 2 Australian mines, one in the west, one in the east. And this is courtesy of my colleague Mike Schlefersky, who many of you will know. He tells me that one 29Metals share today gives you exposure to 10.2 pounds of copper, 11 pounds of zinc, and a tenth of a gram of gold. A different way to look at it, but very interesting way to look at it. And he also talks about resource optionality. And we've got, across the assets, plus minus 60 million tonnes each, 128 million tonnes And last year we mined across the asset 3.2 million tonnes. And when you think of that, the resource compared to the mining that we've undertaken, that's 42 times what we produced last year or mined last year in terms of our resources. So the optionality, the upside potential across both assets is really outstanding. Both ore bodies open at depth and open laterally, and optionality for future growth. As I said earlier on, Golden Grove, the best VHMS address in Australia, certainly, and Capricorn Copper, certainly in the best base metals location that you could think of it in this part of the world. We have great teams. We've got a very committed team, a very capable team. We're skilled miners, skilled explorers, and we continually innovate. I haven't spent a lot of time talking about some of the innovation that we've undertaken over the last 2 or 3 years as 29Metals, but really both in terms of underground and process plant. So we've got the right ground, the right skills, the right team, and a lot of the right metals. We're very passionate about what we have, and we're committed to delivering on the business for our shareholders. Thanks, Tim. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter.